Welcome to MRE Uncut, where we'll give you real and practical insights into the real estate scene in Melbourne. We'll discuss what's happening in the industry, all backed by MRE's history of over 30 years in the game. With that said, let's jump into this week's episode of MRE Uncut.
Welcome back to another MRE podcast. My name's Stephen Fitzsimon. I'm here today with Peter Hooymans.
Hello, everyone.
I've also got Talisa Paris.
Hello, everybody.
And Sinead Petropoulos.
Hello.
Today's little episode is going to be one on parents at MRE. So we've brought in a couple of the ladies who have become parents over the last few years to have a chat with us. So thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks
Thank
for
you for
having me.
having us.
We've got babies everywhere.
We do. There's a few babies in
Have we
this
kept
room.
track?
No, we probably need to do a count.
There's a lot of babies.
Babies
Isn't there?
happen.
And interestingly, there was a lot of babies after COVID.
There was.
So
Seems as though that spending time together with your partner
yeah.
leads to babies.
Yeah, it's nothing else to do. So
Yes.
don't
So
blame me.
so we so I think probably the best way to start this one off is the shift we had when we came out of lockdown is the reality, isn't it? And I know when I sort of dwell on that terrible period, but it was when the idea was hatched at MRE.
Well, I think we realised that it was coming, so let's be prepared for it. And
Yep.
if we can take what MRE's done so many times by sort of an early adopter approach, especially in our industry, then we could make a positive change.
So I'm thinking January 02 we had I'm just from memory, we had Talisa, Talia, Andrea, maybe one other. Jump in any time if you.
So January 22?
January 22 was
Right.
when we originally formulated the thoughts of how we got all these great performers that have been with us for years
Yep.
that we love, and hang on a sec, they're about to have a child, and that could mean 6 months out of the workforce, or really, if you think about it, if you know anything about having a child, and I only know the male bit clearly. Like 6 months feels to me like way short.
Yeah.
Which was my initial thought. I was thinking, geez, when Max was 6 months old, that's like you're just
2 weeks after
working
they're
out
born.
what to do.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of discussion in the group of how we could support and what that looked like, and wow, we don't want to lose. What happens if Talisa doesn't come back? We don't want that.
No.
And that led to then bigger discussions. I remember the key meeting was with Jake Workman, our GM, myself, Talisa, Andrea, and Talia.
Yeah.
And we all sat in a room, and you remember this meeting, and we're like, well, we're thinking of doing maternity leave. And the girls were like, what do you mean? We said, well, we're thinking of doing 3 months extra after the government thing, so that you can be supported in your post. Yeah. And sort of get your head around, when you might want to come back and what that looks like. And I still remember the reaction was quite I think Talisa asked me 3 times, are you sure? Are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure, yeah. And that was the start. And so I reckon it'd be good to start with your story, just in a snapshot of how it worked for you.
Yeah. So long story short, I've been in real estate sales since I was about 20 years old. So that looked all well and good. Obviously hustled a lot during that time, got myself to a place where I was, flying, I guess, in terms of sales, which was really good. During COVID, I obviously fell pregnant, came back to real estate, and had the meeting obviously with you guys.
Yes.
That meeting blew me away straight away, because I was automatically always thinking, okay, well, I've got the government sort of leave and that's just about it.
Yes.
And then I've got to work out how we're going to either take time off unpaid and then return, or, what's it going to look like? But when you said that, I was pretty much blown away that you were even considering it. And then I still remember the conversation was so what would help you? You sort of just left it to us to say, well, this would be great, this wouldn't be great, that kind of thing, and just sort of left it. Yeah, for us, you didn't even sort of, I guess, direct the whole conversation. You were sort of just what would help you come back to MRE after this?
Yes.
So I think that was like awesome that you just sort of just let us
Yeah,
take
well,
the
it's a
lead
bit of
with
a
it.
first for all of us. So it was
Yeah.
sort of like, I don't know, what can we work out? That was my thinking.
Yeah.
We're old, but we're not that old.
But when we
know how to solve all the problems.
Oh, well, you're definitely pretty old. But
Oh, right, okay.
no, before we jumped on live,
Yeah.
you said to me, pre-baby, you were writing X amount of business.
Yeah.
And then you had the little fella.
Yeah.
And now, how are you going?
Yeah, extremely well.
So
So
you're back to what you were doing.
yeah, back to what I was doing.
So
pre-baby.
take us through how long you had off and
Yeah,
just like what did that look like?
No worries. So yeah, obviously I had Milan, my little boy, in June, and I went back to work in around February.
So this is June 22.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went back to work last year. So yeah, 23, probably like February, March sort of time.
So 9 months.
I've been in it fully now, probably for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
and you've come back to like a hybrid arrangement?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm doing only Tuesdays and Thursdays in the office at the moment. Obviously, before I had a baby, I was in there every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to prioritize spending time with my son as well and watching him grow up. That was really important to me.
Yep.
But ultimately, I still wanted to have the career and, do what I love as well, which was real estate sales. Like, that's my passion. I
Yes.
love going to work every day and doing that. So to have the opportunity to be a mother as well as and a hands-on mother and be there most of the time, not just, he's with me a lot of the time, I should say. And also go into work and still have this awesome career where I'm writing the exact same figures and earning the same as I was prior to having a baby. So that's just insane. It blows my mind that I can do both of those things. Like, I can have it all. And for ages I was wondering, can I have it all? Like, can I still have that dream career that I wanted to have and sell these properties and do it well as well, not just like, half-assed, I guess.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, as someone, I've done real estate sales.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know how you can do that too, because I can't imagine trying to do that too.
Yeah.
That, like, I don't think a guy could do that.
Yeah. Well,
I hope I don't upset anybody by saying that, but I don't think a bloke can
I'd like you to delve,
multitask enough.
Talisa, a
Yeah.
little bit more into the operational way of that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're only there 2 days a week,
yeah.
How do you do your opens? How do you do your vendor meetings? How do you
Yeah.
do the work that an agent needs to do?
Yeah,
go
good-
out and see
good-
the
good
properties
call.
and those type of
Yeah.
things. How does that structure for you?
Yeah. Look, it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It is really hard to sort of, I guess, manage everything, but you have to be super organized when you're a mum anyway. So I think that time off when I was, being a mother and sort of, that 6 months of being super organized, packing bottles, doing this, doing that. It helped me later on to go back into real estate because I was like, oh, okay, now I need to do this, then I need to do this. And I have to set Milan up for the day before I leave to go to work and pack his lunches and things to go off to, my mum's to look after him and things like that. So, that helped later on. What it looks like to me basically is MRE just have helped a ton. I remember going back in to work and Michael, our sales manager, just said to me, Talisa, however you want to come back into this role, you tell me. Whatever works for you, we'll make it work. And I was just thinking, what the hell? That is just amazing. I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to have to work part-time, which is 3 days a week. And this is this and this. And he was like, no, whatever you want to do. So I actually started on 1 day a week in the office.
Yes.
For a few 4 months or so until I actually started to come in 2 days a week. And then I slowly just did, more and more in that sort of aspect whilst I was getting comfortable transitioning to being a new mum. Because ultimately Milan was only 7 months old when I came back. But yeah, basically MRE processes helped me do what I need to do and run a really efficient business. So we've got buyer and client managers. They do most of my buyer work. So they meet with the buyers. They have the relationships with them anyway. So to be honest, it works better for our owners and it works better for MRE and the buyers because they've got the relationship with that agent. So yeah, they help a ton. They do a lot of like I said, the buyer work. And I predominantly focus on the vendor side of things, vendor management, making sure they're happy, making sure I'm getting price adjustments that need to happen, presenting, obviously doing appraisals, off our rent roll and just organic ones that come through as well. So yeah, I do honestly the stuff I love doing too, which makes me even more passionate about it because I'm doing that stuff I love. So yeah, that's how we make it work, I think.
If we look at this from an outsider's point of view, where they might not have the buyer and client roles and this type of stuff from a normal agency, if you wound back and you put yourself back in your younger years pre-pregnancy, and you were going to say to somebody how to prepare with the support of management and try and work through that, what would be the pathway? Would you be looking at something like a team, creating a team where you'd run a team and have one or two runners that would be doing your buyer and client stuff? Would that be the driver?
We're just lucky enough at MRE that we've got those people. I had those people already, and then they employed more when I came back in. So yeah, and their MRE funds them as well. So I don't actually pay for them myself. So that's huge. You know, I have that help, and that can help scale my business basically at MRE's cost, which is always nice for an agent. I'm talking for a sales agent point of view, because I know that other agencies, sure, you could do this, but you'd be paying a PA or 2 PAs, maybe even 3 if you're a mum that works 2 days in the office. So
Yeah, so that's giving you a little bit of insight into the MRE approach and how we sort of differentiate ourselves in the marketplace.
100%.
But in terms of the style, it's sort of like, okay, I know, I recognise I can't do everything.
Exactly.
So I need helpers to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of trying to establish that before the event of disappearing.
Yeah.
And then setting that up for success when you get back.
Yeah, exactly.
Challenging because you know, like if you're not working for 6, 9, 12 months, then that team isn't sort of there. Do you know what I mean? Like where are they going to go?
No.
So it's almost creating a team, and there's a bit of work that's involved there.
And I think you do have to like find your feet again when you do go back into a sales role. You know,
you lose a bit of momentum. Sorry, I can't over you there.
No, it's true. You do,
because you know, sales is it's a bit like a game of footy. You know, it's like as soon as the tide turns, you know, it's hard.
100%.
Vendors that you've worked on for 2 years decide to sell 3 months into your leave, and you know, all that stuff. Yeah, challenges.
So I got a good question. So do you think you could do the same thing when the second one arrives? Because that's going to happen. Obviously, it's like super young.
Yeah. I mean, I would love another baby. But I don't really know what that would look like, but I think I could do it. Yeah. Like, I think I could do it. And I know, honestly, like I'm at a place where if I can do it, I will do it, because at MRE, it's like they will support me any way that looks like. So I'm really, really blessed. I can't explain how lucky I am to do a job where, you know, I still get to do what I love and like do all the good bits. I get to go see clients. I get to do appraisals. I get to, you know, do some buyer work if I want. Whatever it looks like to me, like MRE make it work. So I'm really, really fortunate.
You're very quiet.
I know.
We need to talk about you.
Yes.
Come on, Sinead.
Sinead.
Yeah.
So so Talisa's arrangement that sounds like, you know, pretty exciting. I'm actually sitting here feeling a bit proud about all that.
Yeah,
you should.
I think you should be incredibly proud. Like, I was in real estate before I came to MRE, and that never happens.
No.
The mum goes home, and, you know, just listening to this conversation, it's a really big burden for a mum to have a child, but then for the partner, the financial pressures, for you to put that question out and for the girls to go back home and as a family unit figure out what works for them. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when we did it, it was a bit of an unknown, to be honest, which is literally we have a guest in the room today. There's no names required, but we have a really good guest in the room today listening in. And on the way here, I was explaining in 5 minutes or less why we were doing today, because it's kind of like 2 years has gone whoosh. And I'm sort of like, okay, this is like the debrief of the maternity leave, parental leave, hybrid work exchange program that we just made up as we went.
Yeah.
And we've all been so busy the place is just pumping, right? It's like that's so hard to get time together. And so it's great to hear that, because it's you know, it's just taken us a while to have the benefit, feel like how did it work? Did it work?
Yeah.
Should we continue it? What would happen? All those things.
Yeah. And I think I'll add it in as well. Basically, I didn't have a period of time while I was off work that I wasn't getting paid weekly. So like that's insane for a mother that like leaves an industry to become a mum and go through that newborn stage. There wasn't time. I had the government pay, and then I had MRE paying me until I came back to work.
Yep.
Like, the stress of that alone, like, the financial pressures. Like that,
and I think the other
amazing.
girls, unfortunately, there's only 4 seats in the podcast room, but we had Talia and Andrea, who are both fantastic. Were similar scenario.
100%.
And I'm interested in your comment because you said you've worked in real estate, obviously prior to MRE. That's why we hired you.
Yep.
Because you told us you had experience.
Yes.
I read it on your resume.
Yeah, I fluffed that.
So did you?
It still worked.
You know what? I thought so. I've been wondering. No, I joke. But that company, we can't say the name because I don't want to end up in the Supreme Court.
No.
But it was large. It was an international company.
It was an international company.
Yeah, and no, nothing.
We had the maternity leave program, but I think, we're talking about these COVID babies. I fell pregnant with Leo, my second, in that 2020 period. He was born in September, so like January. And then I went back to work and everything was unsettled. And then, there was all the messaging, don't come to work, don't come to work. And so I was like, I better tell them that I am pregnant because I don't want to be getting the train to work and then being in the city with just unknowing. And then as soon as I did that, 2 weeks later, I had a message with HR saying, yep, your role is now redundant. And I was like,
wow.
They had a track record of doing that anyway, but
How
it
sad.
stings.
That makes me feel sick.
It definitely does. And then, so I was apprehensive. What do I do? I was in limbo. And then I wanted to enjoy the time with my son, Leo, which was great. And then I met you.
Sounds like a new partner.
I know. We met at a cafe, so it kind of was like a date.
Yeah.
And then I was apprehensive, and I was like,
funny.
I've got 2 kids. They are sometimes collateral damage in real estate, especially for a mum, because it's generally the mum who's the person who's there when your kid's sick. And I was like, are you sure you want to hire me? You're like, yeah. You prove that you can do it. Like, you've got 2 kids. How organised are you? Like,
exactly. Mums rock.
They do.
Hire more mums.
Oh, look, Steve's here. He knows I've had a bit of a slant to girl power since when?
Yeah,
since day one.
Since you hired him.
I think we've had a couple of times where we were 17 staff and we were 6. It was me and Steve and 15.
Yeah.
Super women.
Yes.
And then I actually remember this story. One of our girls, I won't name names again, and she came to me, she said, do you think we could hire a few guys? Because I said, oh, what do you mean? She goes, well, it's like Wonder Woman Island.
Yeah.
Do you remember that show?
Yes, I do.
Wonder Woman Island.
Not Wonder Woman Island, just Wonder Woman.
No, but there was Wonder
Invisible
Woman Island,
Plane was the
which
thing
was like
for
a
me.
whole island of Wonder Women.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Was that an adult program?
No. But anyway, so we had Wonder Woman Island. So we did have to hire a few blokes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I mean.
Yeah.
But we have definitely,
Yeah.
I've always gravitated towards, I think women do real estate.
Better.
I do. Yeah. And okay, if there's any guys that are upset about that, come and see me. But so we're pushed for that.
Yeah.
And your arrangement, I forget your arrangement.
Well, it's kind of changed. So I started off 3 days in the office, and then, my kids are getting older now. I've got Penelope in prep and Leo's in kinder. So I had the capacity to take on more work and had a conversation. So I'm doing a fortnightly Friday, and soon I'll.
Is that at home or in the office?
That's
or?
at home. So
Yep.
I can, because it
So
was
7
really-
days a fortnight now.
7 days a fortnight,
Yep.
and it will soon be 8, I hope, because I'm very lonely on my Friday off.
Yeah, right.
But it's at home so that I can do the 9 till 3 pickup. So I can pick them up and drop them off and still be present in all the things that I want to be at, which is great and also unheard of to have that flexibility.
It's good. It's a fact of life. I mean, there's kids, and we've got a young team, and we've like promoted as well as being very female centric in the brand. We've also been quite young
definitely.
Like,
Yeah.
so
But you don't want to lose that talent pool as it gets to that age.
it's not going. It's going to
No
keep
way.
happening.
Yeah.
Did we have? I think we got to 11. Did we get to 11 mums? I think last one year at one point
I'm
in
not gonna
time.
roll them all
Yeah,
off, but
I'm pretty sure it was 11.
something like that. Yeah.
Mm.
I think in the time that I started the year, 6 have come back to
Mm.
work in that year.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you had
Yeah,
quite
there
a
was 6
few.
that came back, and there was 5 on the one, like Lizzie. There's
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I should know the list, but anyway, there's a lot of
Yeah.
it's all
lot
happening.
of girls having babies and still doing
Yeah.
really
Anna.
meaningful, powerful
Yeah.
roles at MRE.
Yeah. So they should.
Love
Yeah.
to thank them. Very grateful.
We
They
love
were.
the work that they did before they were pregnant. Now they've got a baby. Fantastic. They can still deliver on all of the expectations and more, because all it does is increase your capability. I would suggest.
Exactly. I think looking at it from that point of view, and MRE always looked at it from that point of view, like Sinead said too, like with her previous job, saying that, oh, you know, you're pregnant now, we don't really want you anymore, that kind of thing. MRE were like, that's great. How can we make that work better? And let's support you when you get back, so you're awesome. You know, like
Yeah.
that's so
That's
cool.
definitely what-
Like,
I mean-
didn't think of it as a disadvantage, thought it as an advantage.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I to be like when we did when we kind of originally tabled it,
Yeah.
like whether people came back or not, of course we could never know. So I
Of
never did it for
course.
that. It wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't the actual motivation. The motivation was like, what can we do that's a little bit market leading? That's something that's like a kind of special. It also felt like after like 2 years of lockdown, like, God, we'd all been banged from pillar to post, and it was just so it all has come together really beautifully. Now the fact that literally everybody has come back
Yeah.
in a super meaningful way, that's just like the bonus.
why wouldn't they?
I know, but when you
Yeah,
it's
it's sort of
you
hard
know,
not to when you're
I-
sort of given it however you sort of want, like
that was the
whatever it
dream.
looks like.
That
Yeah,
was the dream, and it's sort of come true. So that's
Exactly.
But
really,
you never know until it happens.
that's the point. Is when we took the jump. I thought, well, I can't worry about that, because if I do, who
Then you won't
knows?
jump.
How can we know what's going to happen in 2 years' time?
And what agencies like giving that flexibility to their other staff, especially salespeople? Like, you know, I wouldn't even imagine going somewhere else now, because what would that look like for me? I have no idea. Do you know what I mean? So it is going to keep me in the door of MRE always, because like I have such a good work environment. So
Yes, yeah, good to hear.
I think it's also important though, because, you know, all these people have come back. You don't just not stop talking to them once they've all had their babies. Like all the
Yes.
kids come in.
Yeah.
We're always keeping in contact with everyone. It's a really special environment. Like I recently had school holidays. Penelope was in.
She was a star.
She was a
Yeah,
star.
she's amazing.
I think
I like them. They're cool little.
Yeah.
I like the little,
little
people.
people.
Yeah.
I actually met Jake's kids on Monday.
They're good kids.
Yeah.
They are.
Rangers, but
But
good
he
kids.
was but he was like, oh, my kids are a bit wild, and I was like, after I met them, I was like, they're the most perfectly
No,
behaved
they're not
pair
wild.
of little girls. Like, and
He's met my kids
they were
too.
fabulous. I was like, oh, they're so sweet.
When
Anyway.
you first saw Penelope
sweet-
doing flips
sweet
down the
girls.
street,
Yeah, that was
walking
cool.
into
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
and he was like, "Who's this kid?" I was like, and I turn around, I'm like, "Oh God!"
I never
it's
forget
Steve."
your 3. So,
Firecracker.
I mean, just by the by, I mean, we've got to mention it. Your wife, you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Lara got a plug, and I think Lara needs a better plug, because you've had 3 boys.
Yeah.
All of them over 11 pounds. Am I right?
No, they weren't all over.
Come
3.
on.
No, they weren't. We had one that was 10 pound, one that was 9 pound. There was a little fella, and then the big one, 11. So that's 5.3
11.
kilos for the others, and so
gosh.
she is
Mate.
Saint Laura.
Yeah.
Is the only way we
She's
can
that
describe her.
superwoman,
She's
for
she's
sure.
an
That is
amazing
insane.
woman.
So
There's
we
no
even
doubt
talk,
about that.
we talk. It's getting rolled in the room.
Yeah.
we talk about the big Steve-O babies quite a
Yeah.
bit, don't
Yeah.
we? Everyone
Well,
in the office knows. 60
yeah.
people know
Oh,
the
that's
weight
it.
of your
Yeah.
children.
Yeah. It's
I reference you when I go into like when I'm talking about like with my mum friends about
Yeah.
things. I'm always just like, yeah, well, it's not actually that big because
Yeah.
I've got some of my work that.
Yeah, no, she's a special woman. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I remember you brought the photo in, and it was like I looked at it. I said, "That's like Max when he was 14 months old."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it was a big
Literally.
baby.
Looks like a 6-month-old, like
Yeah.
that newborn photo.
Yeah, it looked very odd in the maternity ward. We'd have a baby that was like,
Did he fit into the
And-
little crib?
yeah, he did, but he wasn't. He was 57 or 58 centimeters, so he wasn't that long. He's
That
just,
is
That is super
that's so long. That's
well,
Yeah,
you
Milan
know.
was like 51 or
There
52
you
I
go.
mean,
or something.
on
So-
the parent,
so-
on the parent thing, like we've talked the baby maternity mum thing is one
Yeah.
part, but there's also like Steve, you and I have been working together 16, 17 years. I remember when you and I were both like, no children, we're out pot after work.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you know, I've got a 15-year-old, you've got a 14, a 12, and a
cricket
10.
training. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's, and we're always talking about like sharing their stories, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really,
It helps.
it's a good part of, it's a part of the business I really enjoy. Yeah.
Indeed.
So,
Sinead, Talisa,
Yep.
thanks for joining us. That was
for having us.
good
That was
fun.
good.
Pleasure.
thanks, ladies. That was awesome. Great to hear. And
That's a wrap.
thanks, everyone. Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.